whiskey through food. Back at it with another episode. There we are. Let's go ahead and follow along on Facebook and on YouTube so that I can see the chat here. Love Friday nights, especially when I get to spend it with you all, making some delicious cocktails. Very excited, very excited. Today, we're going to have an absolutely fantastic iteration of a Halloween cocktail. This Halloween cocktail is going to be an homage to the Sazerac, one of my absolute favorite cocktails of all time. Today, we're going to be making a Halloween edition, though. So you know that I had to jump into to my bag of tricks, or my bag of goodies, I should say, and pull out some candies. You know, you might be thinking, well, Cam, why didn't you just call this Whiskey Through Candy? Well, you know, it's my show, so I'm going to call it what I want, right? This is Whiskey Through Food, but Halloween Candy Edition. So I went to the store, and I actually bought a kind of a hodgepodge of different candies. Some of my favorite candies. Some of them are also some of my least favorites. Get out of here, Almond Joy. What are you doing? You bring me no joy. So, but I did manage to get some Reese's. I managed to get some Hershey's as well. And then Witch's Brew Kit Kat. So these are going to be the food items that we are pairing to our whiskey today. Let's make sure that we've got everything before we get all nice set up and started here. So we've got all of our candy. We've got our whiskey. We've got our glass for our cocktail. We've got a mixing vessel. We've got some ice. We've got a jigger, a measuring device. I think we're about ready to go. Let's do the damn thing. I'm Cameron George, National Ambassador for Ardbeg Single Malts here in the U.S. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Food. As I was kind of collecting a little bit of my thoughts, I may have introduced some of the food items that we're going to be pairing to this whiskey to today. Our whiskey is again going to be Ardbeg Wee Beastie, Little Beast, essentially. 5 years old, delicious single malt Scotch whiskey. From the depths of Islay comes a beast with a lot of bite. Ardbeg Wee Beastie, 47.4% alcohol by volume, an absolutely incredibly enticing dram. The youngest age statemented whiskey that's available from a distillery on Islay. So the youngest peated whiskey that is available currently, at least age statement peated whiskey. Ardbeg, it was interesting for us to be a distillery and a brand that is both getting older and younger at the exact same time. And what I mean by this is you may also be familiar with a whiskey called Ardbeg Treban, 19-year-old whiskey. So for us to add a 19-year-old to our regular offerings, even though it's not part of the core range, but it is a whiskey that we'll release every single year. It'll just be a small allocation of it, right? But for us to now offer a 19-year-old and also be getting younger at the same time, offering a 5-year-old, shows the depth of diversity that we can create at the distillery. Both drams actually, are comprised of whiskeys that spent their lives in ex-bourbon, and some that spent its entire life in Oloroso sherry casks. So those things are brought together. But it's absolutely incredible how we can take the same components and make two completely differing whiskeys or styles of whiskeys from those said components. Ardbeg Wee Beastie, a little over half of the whiskey aged in ex-bourbon casks for its entire life, also that 5 years, right? Some of this whiskey being aged for its entire life in Oloroso sherry cask, going to add some beautiful oxidative notes. The candies that I selected for this are really going to bring out some of the overall flavors and aromas that you're going to get from the whiskey itself. From Reese's, we're going to actually be able to identify, let's hold up that Reese's right there. From Reese's, we're going to start to identify some of this this peanut butter, this soft kind of sweet peanut butter, a little bit of that sea salt as well that you're going to see represented in a wide swath of peated whiskeys, not just Ardbeg, but generally identify them by having a saline or a salty aspect to them. A lot of that represented in the Reese's. From the Almond Joy. Almond Joy is going to give us a lot of that coconut, that roasted coconut that's going to be indicative of whiskey that spent its life in ex-bourbon casks, right? Ex-bourbon casks are fantastic for being able to impart not only the raw power, if we're speaking about a peated whiskey, but then also being able to impart a lot of those, those toasted coconut, creme brulee, those rich vanillin, like vanilla aspects to the whiskey as well. So lots of really beautiful things that can be imparted from American oak. And that's why we're going to use a little bit of Ardbeg Wee Beastie and Almond Joy as the food pairing. Hershey's Hershey's, that dry chocolate. Oh, absolutely fantastic. You're going to see some dry chocolate being represented in the sherry casks that are used to put together a whiskey like Ardbeg Wee Beastie. You're also going to see a little bit of this, like the softness of the milk chocolate aspect, again, represented in some of the whiskey being aged in ex-bourbon casks. Let's make sure our light doesn't malfunction on us there. There we go. All right. And last but not least, my favorite, and really the base of the cocktail actually today as well, or at least the base of the idea, Witch's Brew Kit Kats. So these are marshmallow flavored Kit Kats. Weird, I know, but that's going to be one of the components that we're going to use in our cocktail today. It's going to be marshmallow. So I'm super excited to do that. Enough talking. Let's get down to business. Let's have some fun and have a little bit of whiskey while we're doing it. Cheers. Slanjava. Happy Halloween. So let's go ahead and start with the Reese's. I think that, first off, if you don't think that Reese's Peanut Butter Cup is the best candy available at Halloween for a trick-or-treater, first off, I don't want to come to your house and trick-or-treat. That's insane to me. Reese's Peanut Butter Cup is the premier candy for Halloween and trick-or-treating, right? Fight me on this. Kit Kat, no, get out of here. Hershey's, no, get out of here. If you try to give me candy corn, I'll react violently. I swear to God. I swear to God, right? Oh, yeah. Melanie dropping into the chat here. It says marshmallow flavored Kit Kats. It's going to be really cool. And also, hi, it's been a long time. Good to see you, right? So let's dive into our peanut butter cup. There's a couple of right ways to eat a peanut butter cup. I'm going to show you, or I hope I'm going to show you my preferred way of eating the Reese's. Maybe I'm a psychopath because I eat Reese's peanut butter cups like this, but, you know, to each their own. So I take our Reese's peanut butter cup. Again, we're really, pairing this to the whiskey because, again, that ex-bourbon cask is going to provide not only the peaty power, but also the ability for that peat to show off some of the salinity, that salt and that peanut butter aspect. I really love whiskeys that are aged in ex-bourbon casks, or they're single malts from Islay that are aged in ex-bourbon casks because of that reason, that salt and that peanut butter aspect. All right. So how I eat a Reese's, let's see if this one will cooperate. Yeah, there we go. We just got to rip that bad boy directly in half because I want the very center of that twice, right? All right, here we go. Cheers, Slanjava. Sweetness from the milk chocolate, the salt, the nuttiness. It's perfect. Let's see how the whiskey goes. Boom. Perfect. Wonderful plume of this almost kind of umami mid-palate from the whiskey that is backed up by the salt. And then again, that chocolate just rolls in, velvety, soft, very smooth. The staying power of the whiskey, 47.4% alcohol by volume, gives you this beautiful lipid, almost fatty aspect to the whiskey, especially when you're pairing things like peanut butter and chocolate to it. That's delicious. Let's go ahead and give it another shot. Happy Halloween. Oh, that's so good. Reese's Peanut Butter Cup and Ardbeg Wee Beastie. There we go. Nick, my man, what's going on? There is no wrong way to eat a Reese's. Absolutely. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to be doing for our cocktail pairing today. Cocktail pairing is going to be an absolutely fantastic iteration of the Sazerac. The Sazerac is, of course, one of cocktails. Sazerac also essentially calls New Orleans home. If you spent time in New Orleans, even if it's only for tails, and if it's only been for tails, you need to get back to that city because it's absolutely incredible. But if you spent time in New Orleans, you encountered the Sazerac. Chances are that you also may have gone on a haunted tour as well. New Orleans is a city that is very well known for its kind of spooky and haunted culture. Lots of really beautiful kind of sights to see that turn pretty haunted and kind of almost a little scary at nighttime. So get back to the city of New Orleans and NOLA and take a haunted tour. The Sazerac cocktail that we're going to be making is inspired by the Witch's Brew Kit Kat, marshmallow flavored Kit Kat. So I started thinking, how do we use marshmallow in this cocktail? What do we do? How do we incorporate this? So I figured that the marshmallow needed to act essentially as a foam. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use our marshmallow as a foam. To this marshmallow, I went and I got Jiffy or Jet Puffed. There we go, Jet Puffed. And I added just a little bit of whipped cream. And then I also added a little bit of a secret ingredient. So let's start talking about building the cocktail first. Here we go. Welcome all of our new joiners here. We're raising a glass of Ardbeg Wee Beastie as we salute Halloween. Cheers, Slanjava. And we're going to be making a spooky Sazerac cocktail today. So let's start with the absolutely delicious star of our show, Ardbeg Wee Beastie. Start with 2 ounces of whiskey. This will be an absolutely fantastic cocktail. We've got some witchcraft for our cocktail today as well. We're going to use just a little bit of bitters. Peychaud's bitters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dashes. Delicious barrel-aged Peychaud's bitters, actually. We'll hold that up to the screen so you can see it. And we're going to add just a little bit of simple syrup. There's our simple. And we're going to add just 1/4 ounce of simple. And then we're going to stir this cocktail. And you bartenders out there are like, duh, you forgot the main ingredient, the star of the show, absinthe. You forgot. No, my babies. No, I did not. That is the treat to our delicious trick here. The absinthe is going to be incorporated through the whipped cream. A little bit of ingenuity here. All right, there we are. What's going on, DJ? Good to see you, my man. All right. Oh, we lost resolution just a little bit there. I apologize. All right. So now we need to prepare our Jet Puff. Our Jet Puff, again, has a little bit of absinthe, has a little bit of whipped cream. And now we just need to essentially make this, make it a full-on whipped cream. So we're just going to shake it just a couple times. That should do pretty well. Let's make sure that we got good incorporation. And we did. Success. Now what we're going to do is we are going to take our cocktail and we're going to strain it into, if we have a strainer around here. Dang, that's the one thing we didn't have. The ghost walked off with the strainer there. The ghost walked off with the strainer. There we go. So let's go ahead and add the cocktail to the glass there. Perfect. Nice. Brian, what's going on? Love that. Love that. And now we're just going to go ahead and add just a little bit of our whipped cream to the cocktail. And we're going to go ahead and do that by pouring it slowly over the back of the spoon. There we are. Actually, we'll go ahead and spoon it. There we go. It's always fun to work with new ingredients. There we go. Make sure that doesn't come out too fast. And there we are. Just one more dollop. Whipped cream foam on the Sazerac. Perfect cocktail. Last thing that we're going to do is just going to squeeze a little bit of lemon over the top of it. That way we still get that perfect looking cocktail. Absolutely delicious. Cheers. Slanjava. That absinthe, the whiskey still comes through, the sweetness from the marshmallow. Let's go ahead and see how it paired to our Witch's Brew Kit Kat, which is a marshmallow flavored Kit Kat. I mean, I guess we could even theoretically garnish this cocktail Witch's Brew Kit Kat. We can go ahead and garnish on the side with one there. We'll eat the other. That's delicious. Lots of similarities right there. There's this really beautiful, obviously the marshmallow notes immediately jump to the forefront. The herbaceous and herbal notes of the cocktail are really elevated. There's a strange, almost absinthe-like herbaceous quality to the Kit Kat itself, and maybe that's just me playing mind games. That's fantastic. Let's go ahead and try the Kit Kat dipped into some of the whipped cream there. That's fantastic. Absolutely perfect. Perfect food pairing. So we paired Ardbeg Wee Beastie to a little bit of Reese's peanut butter cups, and then we made a cocktail that was inspired by Kit Kat Witch's Brew. Two awesome pairings to kick off this wonderful Halloween weekend. I hope that it's spooky. I hope that it is fun. I hope that it is safe. And I hope that you all have an incredible, incredible weekend. I'm Cameron George, National Ambassador for the one and only Ardbeg. This is tune in on Monday, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where we'll be back with another kick-ass episode. And until then, cheers and slanjava. Have a great weekend.